I'm sure you've heard of the Dr. Sun Yat-Sen Classical Chinese Garden in downtown Vancouver. But did you know that it is the very first classical Chinese garden to be built outside of China? Every year they put on a display for Chinese New Year. However, this year the exhibit is a little different.
We've brought all the traditions and the values that Chinese New Year is rooted in, and we've transformed this space so that people can really engage in it and feel what it's like to live those values.
It's called Coming Home, Traditions of Chinese New Year, and it's the unique exhibit at the Dr. Sun Yat-Sen Classical Chinese Garden. Each year the garden hosts a display for the Chinese New Year, but this year the space has been transformed into the garden that it truly is. A classical Chinese garden would be a scholar's home, and so this, the very first classical Chinese garden built outside of China, has been set up as a traditional home.
We've got actually the family feast table. And the family feast, the dinner of reunion, as it's often translated, is actually perhaps the most important meal of the entire year, never mind the celebrations themselves.
I didn't know all about the different foods and all about how important food is to the New Year celebrations. I mean, obviously Chinese food is something that everyone knows, especially here in Vancouver, but I don't think I really realized its significance for New Year.
Besides focusing on food, the Coming Home exhibit features other meaningful traditions typical to a home during the Spring Festival.
Practice calligraphy, have a go at that. We have some symbols here that you can practice and copy if you'd like to. You can write down wishes or prayers for the new year, write those down and hang them on a piece of bamboo.
Every year the exhibits are beautiful, but somehow things are more refined this year, and each one has a lot of meaning, so that it could attract a lot of different people with different interests.
The exhibit also highlights the traditional art of paper cuts and the tradition of coming together with family, but featuring more modern images. Even the garden's grounds display classical home decor.
I like looking at the garden and seeing all that red with the lanterns, the red and the gold. I like seeing that, the brightness, and it's very stimulating.
This exhibit will be seen by over 900 school children during its display at the gardens. It's one of many events celebrating the Chinese Spring Festival in and around the city.
Everybody does Chinese New Year, and of course it should be. In Vancouver, it's a major part of the history of the city, but also the population that we have here. So you can do Chinese New Year everywhere. You can do it at the shopping malls, you can do it at Nordstrom, you can do it anywhere. And it's great, it's fabulous, and everybody does it so wonderfully. But there's nothing quite like, I think, bringing it home to some of the traditions. So what we hope to do is actually tell the stories about why. So a lot of people know, yes, red is a lucky color, but do you know why? Certain symbols exist, but do you know the stories why? And so what we want to do is tell some of those stories in a way where people really engage in the space.
Besides answering the question why and finding out the reasons behind some Chinese traditions, this exhibit actually provides more meaning than that. Aspects of the installations are actually found locally.
What we were able to do with this exhibition is really work with hyper-local community. So we worked with the local community of artists, we worked with young aspiring curators, we were able to support local businesses here in Chinatown. So if there's anything that you see in the garden, Chinatown is still the place that you can go to get a lot of these traditional decorations, these supplies. So, you know, Bamboo Village, Mingwo, we went to Decor of China, very hyper-local, and our calligraphy is written by a local husband and wife team. We were actually able to work with a number of different organizations and people who really made this special and unique. I think it's important to learn these things because sometimes we are so autopilot, we recognize things but we lose the depth of it. I think it's really important to understand that it's not just a superficial, you know, if I slap up a sign here or a couplet here, it's nice, it's a gesture, but there's actually something quite a bit more important behind it.
Coming Home, Traditions of Chinese New Year, at the Dr. Sun Yat-Sen Classical Chinese Garden until February 24th. In Vancouver, I'm Tiffany Gurden for Shaw TV.